Stop everything right now because my phone is literally vibrating off the table with the news coming out of the 206 tonight. Seattle is buzzing like I have not seen in years, and it is all because of one man and one massive social media post that just sent a shockwave through the entire Pacific Northwest. We are talking about a legend returning to the scene of the crime, and I am honestly shaking right now. You need to hit that subscribe button because we are pushing for 1,000 subs, and this tribe is growing fast, so join us today. Listen to me closely, because the landscape of this team just shifted in a way nobody saw coming after the incredible run we had under Mike Macdonald last year. We all know the vibes around this facility are different now because Macdonald brought that defensive grit and that high energy that reminded us why we are the loudest stadium in the world. But then out of nowhere, Russell Wilson posts on social media about being back in Seattle and praising the city that he called home for 10 legendary seasons. Do you understand the weight of this moment for a fan base that has been through the highest highs and the lowest lows with number 3 under center? It feels like a fever dream because we were all looking forward to the future, and now the ghost of our past is knocking on the door of the VMAC. Think about the pressure in that building right now as the young guys look up and see a 10-time Pro Bowler literally campaigning to come back to the place where he became a Hall of Famer. I want you to close your eyes and imagine the roar of the crowd at Lumen Field if he stepped back onto that grass in a Seahawks jersey one more time. Is this about football, or is this about something much deeper, like a man trying to fix his legacy before the clock runs out on his career? Mike Macdonald has built a culture of competition and absolute dog mentality, so you have to wonder how a veteran like Russ fits into that puzzle. Are we really ready to open that door again after everything that went down when he left for Denver? This news is explosive because it challenges every single thing we thought we knew about this upcoming season and the direction of this franchise. I am asking you right now, as a true member of the 12 family, do you actually want to see him back? Or are we just chasing a feeling that does not exist anymore? This is the kind of story that keeps you up at night because the implications are massive for our salary cap and our locker room chemistry. We are building something special here, and the last thing we need is a circus, but man, the nostalgia is hitting like a freight train right now, and I cannot look away. But wait, it gets even crazier when you look at the raw truth of what has happened to Russell Wilson since he walked away from us. We watched him struggle in Denver, which was a complete nightmare for him, and honestly a bit painful for us to witness from afar, even if we were still a little salty about the trade. Then he goes to Pittsburgh and then to the New York Giants, where things turned absolutely toxic to the point where he was getting booed off the field by his own fans. That is a heavy burden for a champion to carry, and you have to feel for the guy on a human level because he went from being the king of Seattle to a third-string quarterback in the blink of an eye. They don't want you to know how much that ego has been bruised, but you can see it in every move he makes now. He is searching for that magic again, and he knows deep down that the only place he ever truly felt invincible was right here in the Emerald City. The reports are swirling that he might just retire and go into broadcasting, which would be the safe move, but Russ has never been about playing it safe. He wants one more run at a Super Bowl ring, and he sees what Mike Macdonald is building and he wants in on the action. But let's be real for a second, because his relationship with this organization was severely damaged when he started acting like a diva and demanding his own office in Denver. We remember the stories, and we remember how it felt like he turned his back on the blue and green for the bright lights of the mountains. If he comes back, there will be no special treatment and there will be no private offices, because this is Macdonald's house now. The emotional pivot here is wild because one minute I am excited about the legacy, and the next I am terrified that he will ruin the chemistry we have worked so hard to build. Is he coming back to be a mentor, or is he coming back because he cannot accept that the game has passed him by? This is about redemption, and it is about whether or not a man can truly go home again after burning the bridges on his way out. Now we have to talk about the competition, because this is where the redemption arc meets the cold, hard reality of the NFL. We are not the same team that he left years ago because we have a quarterback room that is actually functional and hungry. We have Sam Darnold, who just proved he can win at the highest level, and we have a young dynamic weapon in Jalen Milroe, who looks like the future of this franchise. Then you have Drew Lock, who is a solid veteran presence, so where exactly does Russell Wilson fit into this depth chart? If we bring him in, it means we have to cut or trade someone who has actually been putting in the work for this new era. It is an absolute risk because Russ is 38 years old, and he is not the mobile magician he used to be back in 2013. He was a liability for the Giants, and he was giving up leads and looking lost on the field, so why would we gamble our momentum on a player who might be washed? I am your insider here, telling you the truth that nobody else wants to say out loud, because it hurts to admit that our hero has lost his powers. But the story of the comeback is so tempting for the front office because the jersey sales would be through the roof and the media coverage would be insane. It would be a cinematic masterpiece if he came back and led a game-winning drive in the playoffs, but what happens if he fails? What happens if he sits on the bench and mopes because he is not the starter anymore? We have to protect the culture that Mike Macdonald has established, because that is what is going to get us back to the Super Bowl. I love Russ for everything he gave us, but I love the Seahawks more, and I do not want to see us take 10 steps back just for a retirement tour. We need to be smart, and we need to be aggressive about winning right now, not living in the past. Are we a charity for former stars, or are we a championship contender that is focused on the next generation of greatness? This is the ultimate crossroads for John Schneider and the management team, because the pressure from the fans is going to be immense once this news really starts to sink in. Seriously, I am losing my mind here just thinking about the possibilities, because it feels like a movie script that is being written in real time. Unbelievable is the only word to describe the tension right now between the old guard and the new vision of this team. I have a theory that Russ is not even looking to play a full season, but he just wants to retire with the dignity that he lost in those other cities. He wants to hear the 12s roar for him one last time so he can walk away with his head held high. But the NFL is a business, and there is no room for sentimentality when you are trying to beat the 49ers and the Rams for the division title. I have been hearing whispers that some players in the locker room are actually open to it because they grew up watching him and they respect his rings. But others are worried that the focus will shift away from the team and onto the Russell Wilson show, which is exactly what happened in Denver. It is a delicate balance of ego and talent, and I am not sure we want to tip the scales right now. The pace of this offseason has been fast and intense, and adding Russ to the mix is like pouring gasoline on a fire that is already burning bright. I want to know if you think he can actually contribute on the field, or if he is just a name on a jersey at this point in his life. Can he still make those deep moon balls, or is his arm strength gone along with his speed? We are seeing a slow and heavy emotional reflection from the fan base, because we all want to forgive him, but we are afraid of getting hurt again. It is like an old flame showing up at your door after a bad breakup and promising they have changed for the better. Do you believe him, or do you shut the door and move on with your life? I am leaning towards shutting the door, but there is a small part of me that wants to see that number 3 jersey back in the huddle for one last magic trick. It is a ridiculous situation to be in, but that is just life in the NFL, and especially life with the Seattle Seahawks. This is the grand finale of the conversation, and it all comes down to what we value more as a community of fans. Do we value the legacy of the past or the potential of the future? Because right now those two things are crashing into each other. If Russell Wilson comes back, it has to be on our terms, and it has to be about the team and not about his personal brand or his broadcasting career. We are building a powerhouse under Mike Macdonald, and we cannot let anything distract us from the goal of bringing another trophy back to Seattle. I want to see your fire in the comments right now, because this is a massive turning point for us. Is this our year to reclaim our throne, or are we being let down by the lure of nostalgia? Tell me exactly how you feel about Russ coming back, and do not hold anything back, because I want the raw truth from the real 12s. If he signs a one-day contract to retire as a Seahawk, then I am all for it, because he deserves that honor for the decade of excellence he gave us. But if he wants to take a roster spot from a young guy who is hungry, then I think we have to say no thank you. We are a tribe, and we stand together through thick and thin, so let's make sure our voice is heard by the front office. We are pushing for 1,000 subscribers, so if you love this team as much as I do, then hit that button and join the family. This is more than just a game, it is our life and our passion, and we will never stop fighting for the greatness of the Seattle Seahawks. This season is going to be an emotional roller coaster regardless of what happens with Russ, and I will be here with you for every single second of it. Stay loud and stay proud, and never forget who we are in the face of the entire league. This is our house, and these are our colors forever. 12s.